This is a personal letter to young black males. Dear little brother, standing on the corner, standing at the liquor store, walking down the street with your pants sagging, your ice grill on, burner in your pocket, looking to hurt before you get hurt, looking to kill before you get killed, looking to rob before somebody takes something precious for you. I want to say this to you. I love you like a father loves his son. I love you like a brother loves his brother. I love you like an uncle loves his nephew. And I love you enough to tell you the real. And it starts with the fact that I understand you. I understand you more than you will ever know, because I was you. I was that young man walking down the street full of anger, full of hurt, full of bitterness, full of disappointment, carrying a pistol out of fear of living in my own community. I understand what it feels like to be intoxicated off of hurt, pain, paranoia, to not feel loved, to not feel cared for, to feel like every other black male you encounter is your potential enemy. But let me say this to you. Those things aren't true. There are other young men who look just like you, who care about you, who want to see you succeed. But think about this. When you pull that gun out and you decide to shoot somebody, that's a decision that you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life. And for everybody that tells you, hey, this is cool, this is what's hot, this will make you be thugged out on the block, trust me, none of them will be there when it's time for you to serve that sentence. Everybody that say that they're your friend is going to abandon you. They're going to forsake you. They're going to turn their back on you. They're going to talk about how stupid you were behind your back. And it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt more than any physical pain you've ever experienced. And the reason I know this is because I lived through it. At 19 years old, I was sentenced to 17 to 40 years in prison. And I ended up serving a total of 19 years. So half of my life was in prison and half of my life was out of prison. And I was fortunate and blessed to be able to return to the community with my sanity intact, with my physical well-being intact. But that's not the case for the majority of guys. The majority of guys go to prison, their spirits are broken, and they come out bitter, angry, or they die with the only thing left to hold on to is a reputation that they garnered in their block, in the hood, that doesn't mean anything. When I got sentenced to prison, ultimately, my whole family got sentenced to prison. When I decided to shoot and kill a person, I killed a part of his entire family. And that's a sentence that I will live with for the rest of my life. And trust me, it's not a day that goes by that I don't think about how bad of a decision that was and how much I really hurt this man's family. I'm telling you this now because I don't want you to look up 20 years later, sitting in a cell block, asking yourself, why did you mess up your life? So let me give it to you like this. I know you're tired of adults criticizing you, telling you to pull your pants up, telling you to turn your hat around. But I'm going to say this. More than anything, I want you to pull your self-esteem up and be man enough to turn your life around. And those other things will soon follow. For me, it didn't come overnight. I was blessed, man. And I mean that in the most sincerest way. I was blessed. I was fortunate. And what made me fortunate was literature. Just the act of reading literally changed my life. And I started off reading books written by other prisoners, which ultimately led to me reading books by Donald Goines. And this was the first guy to ever really write about the streets from a real street perspective. But he also wrote about social justice. He wrote about things that helped me to better understand how so many of us end up in prison, in morgues, at an early age. But the most important thing about reading Donald Goines is that it led to me reading books by Malcolm X. This book right here pretty much single-handedly made me step up to the plate as a man and accept responsibility for the decisions I've made in my life. After reading Malcolm X's book, I knew that when I returned to the community, that I wouldn't return as a predator, that I would return as an asset to be able to help other young men who were struggling and going through some of the things I went through. And that led to me reading books like this, Assata Shakur. A lot of y'all probably familiar with the Shakur name from Tupac, but Assata Shakur was a member of the Black Liberation Army who was sent to prison on some trumped up charges. And through reading her story, it made me really understand like the power of women in our community. And I think that's something that's important for so many of y'all to really get, because a lot of y'all have been raised by women. However, we're not stepping up to the plate the way that we used to protect and honor our women. And so, you know, those things are important. But reading that literature opened up my mind to the power of words. And so when I started writing, I wrote with young black males and young women in mind. And the first book I published is called Crack. And I intentionally named it that because I really wanted to be able to reach y'all where y'all were at. I wanted you to be able to see the title and say, hey, yo, this was hot, this was popping in the hood. But I also wanted you to understand when you finish reading the book that there are serious consequences to the decisions that we make. And more importantly, I wanted you to understand that every character in life, every person you encounter, including yourself, has socially redeemable qualities. And that if you dig into yourself, you would definitely be able to redeem the best in who you are. And so the second book I published, Crack Volume 2, it takes you deep inside the belly of the beast, because what I really want young brothers and sisters to understand, that it's nothing hot about living your life in prison. Like, it's the most miserable, deplorable world you can find yourself in. And for that reason alone, I write and I share my stories, because I want you to see in these characters a bit of yourself. I want you to see the hope. I want you to see the potential, but I also want you to see the far-reaching implications of poor decision making. And so I say this with the most sincere love. Put down the guns and pick up a book. If you really want to be gangster, become intelligent, become articulate, because that's the new gangster. I salute y'all brothers. I love y'all brothers. And you know, no matter what, when you talk to me, you always gonna get the real. One love. Peace.